Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into Identity and Access Management, or IAM. And look, this isn't just another cybersecurity buzzword. It's really the new bedrock of digital security for pretty much everyone.
So let's just jump right in with this really powerful idea. As the slide says, identity is the new perimeter. I mean, think about it. Our apps are in the cloud. Our teams are working from everywhere. That old idea of a castle and moat network wall, it's just gone. Security now starts with a much more fundamental question. Who are you? And can you actually prove it?
Okay, so here's the game plan. Think of it like we're constructing a secure digital building from the ground up. First, we'll define that new perimeter. Then we'll pour the foundation by figuring out how to store identity. After that, it's all about managing who gets the keys, checking IDs at every single door, and finally, auditing the most secure vaults deep inside. First up, let's get the framework down, because everything in the world of identity and access management is really governed by a simple but super powerful concept known as the 4 A's. You know, pretty much everything we're going to talk about fits into these 4 buckets. First, you've got administration. That's just creating the accounts and deciding who gets access to what. Then comes authentication, which is all about proving you are who you claim to be. Once you're in, authorization kicks in to decide what you're actually allowed to do. And finally, audit is the all-seeing eye, watching over everything to make sure the rules were followed. This is the core logic, right here. Okay, time to pour the foundation. All of this security, all these rules, they have to be built on something. And that something is a core component called a directory. You can really think of it as the plumbing of your digital building. It's not glamorous, but without it, nothing else works. So what is a directory, really? At its core, you can just think of it as the master address book for the entire company. But it's so much more than that. It's this specialized database that holds the single source of truth about a user, their accounts, and all their permissions. When any application needs to know who is this person, the directory is what provides the answer. And this right here, this is the classic dilemma every big organization faces. In a perfect world, you'd have one single, pristine directory for everything. Simple. But the reality? It's that messy spaghetti monster on the right. You've got separate directories for HR, for sales, for finance, and they all create this chaotic, tangled web of identities. So how do you even begin to wrangle that mess? Well, you've basically got 2 main approaches. The first is a virtual directory. Think of it like a smart index or a search engine. It doesn't hold the data itself, but it knows exactly where to find it in real time. The other option is a meta directory, which is more like a copier. It goes out, pulls all the important user info from those other systems, and syncs it into one central master directory. Okay, so our foundation is poured. Now we can get to our very first A, administration. This is all about managing the complete life cycle of a user's access, giving them the keys they need when they start, and just as critically, taking them away when they leave. So check this out. This is what a perfect automated journey looks like. On day 1, a new hire gets added to the HR system, and poof, all their essential accounts are automatically created. Later, maybe they need access to something new, and that gets approved. But here's the most important part for security, their final day. The moment HR marks them as terminated, that same system triggers and instantly, automatically, revokes every single piece of access. No lingering accounts, no human error. And this right here, this is the key. You have to get this part right. Look, getting people set up quickly, that's great for business efficiency, but the real security risk comes from those ghost accounts that get left behind. An automated process that yanks access the second someone leaves isn't just a nice to have, it's absolutely one of the most critical security functions a company can have. All right, so people have accounts now. Great. But how do we actually guard the doors? That brings us to our next 2 A's. Authentication, which is about proving who you are, and authorization, which is about what you can do once you're inside. Authentication. It always boils down to one or more of these 3 things. There's something you know, like a password. There's something you have, like your phone. And there's something you are, like your fingerprint or your face. And that right there is why multi-factor authentication, or MFA, is such a game changer. By making you prove your identity with at least 2 of those different types of factors, you create layers. So a hacker could steal your password, your something you know, but they're still stuck because they don't physically have your phone. It is a massive, massive leap in security. And let's be honest, we've all felt this pain, right? Password chaos. Juggling dozens of different complex passwords is a nightmare. Single sign-on, or SSO, is the solution. You log in just one time with strong MFA, and then the SSO system handles logging you into everything else securely behind the scenes. It is that beautiful, rare thing, a win-win, where security is massively improved and users are actually happier.
So, you're in the door. Now what? That's authorization. But it's way more sophisticated than a simple yes or no. Modern systems look at context. Are you trying to transfer a huge amount of money from a coffee shop in a different country at 3 a.m.? Even if you have the right password, the system's going to look at that context, say, whoa, that's high risk, and probably block it or ask for more proof. It's all about assessing risk on the fly. All right, let's move on to the final layer. This is where we talk about securing the real keys to the kingdom, those super powerful admin accounts, and making sure we have a way to audit everything that happens. This is a massive and honestly terrifyingly common security hole: shared admin passwords. You've got 5 different people all using the same all-powerful password for hundreds of servers. If something goes wrong, you have no idea who did it. The proper solution is a privileged access management, or PAM, system. It's basically a highly secure digital vault for these credentials.
So how does it actually work? Well, the library analogy is perfect. An admin logs into the PAM vault. They check out the credentials they need for a specific server. The system gives them a temporary one-time use password. They do their work, and when they're done, they check it back in. The moment they do, the PAM system reaches out and immediately changes the real password on the server. The result? No one ever knows the permanent password, and every single action is logged and accountable. And that brings us full circle to our fourth and final A, audit. Think of this as the security camera system for everything. It's the process of constantly reviewing all the logs to make sure administration, authentication, and authorization are all working the way they should be, and to spot when someone is breaking the rules. And this is where auditing gets really smart. I mean, look at this pattern on the screen. Any one of those actions by itself? Probably fine. An admin creating a new account? Okay. Dumping a database? Maybe, for a backup. But when you see all 3 of them happen in that exact sequence in under 2 minutes, that is a gigantic red flag. That's a classic footprint of a data breach in progress. Okay, so obviously no human could possibly watch every single log 24/7 to catch stuff like that. It's just impossible. And that's exactly where user behavior analytics, or UBA, comes in. It uses machine learning to build a baseline of what's normal for every user, and then it automatically flags these kinds of dangerous deviations. It's like having an automated security guard that never blinks. Okay, let's wrap this all up. What are the big takeaways here? First, identity truly is the new perimeter. Second, the 4 A's give us a complete framework to think about this stuff. Third, automation is absolutely critical, especially for deprovisioning. Fourth, things like MFA and PAM are non-negotiable for high-security systems. And finally, smart auditing with UBA helps you find threats before they become disasters. So that leaves us with one final and I think pretty important thought. As our lives become more and more digital, our online identity really is the master key to everything: our work, our finances, our personal lives. The systems that manage and protect that identity are the ultimate guardians. And the question is, who do you really trust to hold that key?